The retirement party was at the country club. Naturally. Dad had spent 35 years as a mid-level manager at Boeing, and now at 67 he was finally calling it quits. The banquet hall was packed with co-workers, neighbors and family members, all raising glasses to Big Jim Thompson and his well-earned rest. I stood near the dessert table watching my sister Ashley work the room in her signature style. Loud, commanding, the center of every conversation. Her husband Brad stood beside her, nodding along as she held court with Dad's former colleagues. "There you are." Ashley's voice cut across the room as she spotted me. "We need to talk. Family meeting. Now." She grabbed my arm and steered me toward a private alcove near the coat check, where Mom and Dad were already waiting. Brad followed, closing the door behind us. "Okay, let's make this quick," Ashley said, pulling out her phone. "I've done the math on Dad's retirement. Between his pension and Social Security, they'll have about $4,200 a month." "That's pretty good," I said. "It's not enough." She swiped through her phone. "Their mortgage is $2,100. Property taxes, insurance, utilities, another $1,500. That leaves $1,600 for food, gas, medical, everything else. It's poverty-level living." Mom's eyes were red. "We thought the pension would be more. Which is why we need to help," Ashley continued. "Brad and I are contributing $1,000 a month. That's our max. We have the twins' college fund to think about." She looked at me expectantly. "How much do you want me to contribute?" I asked. "Well, you don't have kids. You're not married. You live in that tiny studio apartment and drive a 10-year-old Camry. You don't have any real expenses." "I have expenses." "Not like real adults do," Brad interrupted. "Ashley and I have a $4,500 mortgage, 2 car payments, childcare costs. Your overhead is what, $1,200 a month? Something like that. So you can easily afford $2,000 a month," Ashley said. "Which brings their total to $7,200. Much more comfortable." I looked at my parents. Dad was staring at his shoes. Mom was twisting her wedding ring. $2,000 a month is $24,000 a year, I said quietly. "Family takes care of family, Nicole." Ashley's voice hardened. "Brad and I are doing our part. You need to do yours." "For how long?" "What do you mean, how long?" "For as long as they need it. They're our parents. So potentially 20, 30 years? That's $480,000 to $720,000. Ashley's face flushed. "Oh my God, you're actually calculating it? What's wrong with you?" "I'm just trying to understand the commitment." "The commitment is to your parents." She was yelling now. "The people who raised you, fed you, put a roof over your head for 18 years. You owe them." "Ashley," Mom started. "No, Mom, she needs to hear this. Nicole has always been selfish. Always thinking about herself. Well, guess what? It's not about you anymore. It's about making sure Mom and Dad can retire with dignity." Brad nodded. "Ashley's right. You need to step up." I looked at Dad. "What do you think?" He finally met my eyes. I think we wouldn't ask if we didn't need it, Nick." "Here's what we're going to do," Ashley said, pulling out a piece of paper. "I've drafted an agreement. We each commit to our monthly amounts for the next 5 years with options to renew. I need you to sign it tonight." She thrust the paper at me. It was typed, formal, with spaces for signatures. "And if I don't sign? Then you're not family," Ashley said coldly. Simple as that. I stared at the document. At my sister's expectant face. At my parents' desperate expressions. "I need to make a call," I said. "Now." Ashley's voice rose. "We're in the middle of." "I'll be right back." I walked out to the club's terrace, pulling out my phone. My hands were shaking as I dialed. "Nicole. Calling on a Saturday evening." The voice was warm, familiar. "Robert, I'm sorry to bother you, but something's come up. I need you to come to the Cascade Country Club tomorrow morning. 10 a.m. Bring everything." Robert Chin, president of Pacific National Bank, was quiet for a moment. "Are you sure? They just demanded I sign a commitment for $2,000 a month for the next 5 years. Minimum." "Jesus. I'll be there." "Nicole." "Yes. It's going to be okay." I hung up and returned to the alcove. Ashley was tapping her foot impatiently. "Well, I'll give you my answer tomorrow," I said. Family brunch here at 10 a.m. I'll sign your agreement then if I'm signing it. Why can't you just? Tomorrow, Ashley. 10 a.m. That's my condition. The next morning I arrived at the country club at 9:45. My family was already there. Ashley and Brad looking annoyed, Mom and Dad looking anxious. Finally, Ashley said, "Let's get this over with. Did you bring your checkbook?" "Not yet. We're waiting for someone." "Waiting for who?" The dining room door opened. Robert Chin walked in, impeccably dressed in a three-piece suit, carrying a leather briefcase. Behind him was a younger woman in a business suit carrying a tablet. "Good morning," Robert said pleasantly. "I'm Robert Chin, president of Pacific National Bank. This is my associate Jennifer Lee, our VP of Private Wealth Management." Ashley's eyes narrowed. "What is this?" "Nicole asked us to join this family meeting," Robert said, settling into a chair. Given the significant financial commitments being discussed, she felt it was appropriate to have professional advisors present. "We don't need a bank president for a simple family agreement," Brad said. "Actually, any commitment involving $120,000 over 5 years should absolutely involve financial advisors," Jennifer said, opening her tablet. "It's the responsible thing to do." Robert opened his briefcase. "Nicole, before we discuss your family's request, I thought it might be helpful to review your current financial situation, so everyone understands your actual capacity to contribute." "I don't think that's necessary," I started. "I think it's very necessary," Robert said firmly. "Your family seems to have some misconceptions about your financial situation." Ashley leaned forward. "We know she lives in a studio apartment and drives an old car. We're not asking her to drain her savings. Just to contribute proportionally." "Proportionally to what?" Robert asked. "To her income and expenses. She's a programmer or something. Probably makes $70,000, $80,000 a year. With minimal expenses she can afford $2,000 a month." Robert smiled. "Nicole, what's your current title?" I sighed. "Chief Technology Officer." "Of what company?" Jennifer asked. "DataStream Solutions." Ashley frowned. "I've never heard of it." "You wouldn't have," I said. "We're B2B. We provide cloud infrastructure and data analytics for enterprise clients." "How big is this company?" Dad asked. Robert pulled out a document. DataStream Solutions currently has 127 employees across 3 offices. Last year's revenue was $43 million. Projected revenue for this year is $61 million. The table went silent. "And Nicole's role?" Jennifer continued. "She's not just CTO. She's also co-founder and majority shareholder. She owns 52% of the company." Mom's hand went to her mouth. "In our most recent valuation," Robert said, DataStream Solutions was assessed at $180 million. Nicole's stake is worth approximately $93.6 million. Ashley's face had gone white. "But that's not liquid, obviously," Jennifer added. "However, Nicole's annual compensation is substantial. Base salary, $420,000. Plus stock options, bonuses and dividend distributions. Last year her total compensation was $1.8 million. That's..." Brad couldn't finish the sentence. "Impossible," Ashley whispered. "You live in a studio apartment." "I live in a 600-square-foot condo in a building I own," I corrected quietly. "The building has 12 units. I live in one and rent the others. It generates about $18,000 a month in rental income." "You own an apartment building?" Mom's voice was faint. 3 actually," Robert said, consulting his notes. "The one she lives in plus 2 others. Combined value, approximately $8.2 million with $3.1 million in outstanding mortgages. Net equity, $5.1 million. As for the car," Jennifer added, "the old Camry is actually a 2015 model that Nicole owns outright. She also owns a 2023 Tesla Model S, though she rarely drives it. Says the Camry is more practical for Seattle weather." I looked at my family's shocked faces. "Overall," Robert continued, "Nicole's liquid assets, checking, savings and investment accounts with our bank, total approximately $4.7 million. Her retirement accounts hold another $2.3 million. Combined with her real estate equity and business stake, her total net worth is approximately $105.7 million. The silence was deafening. So when you asked Nicole to contribute $2,000 a month, Robert said gently, you were asking someone worth over $100 million to contribute less than her daily investment income. Her portfolio generates approximately $15,000 per day in passive growth. Ashley's mouth opened and closed like a fish. But why didn't you tell us? Mom asked. Because every time I tried you made it about something else, I said. 3 years ago I mentioned my company was doing well. Ashley said I was bragging and that real success meant marriage and kids. 2 years ago I tried to tell Dad about our Series B funding. He said tech money wasn't real money like his pension. Last year I offered to help with your mortgage. You said you didn't want charity from your career-obsessed daughter. We didn't know, Dad started. You didn't want to know. It was easier to see me as the single childless workaholic living in a studio apartment than to acknowledge I'd built something real. I don't understand, Brad said. If you have all this money, why live like you're poor? I don't live like I'm poor. I live intentionally. I don't need a mansion or a luxury car to prove my worth. Unlike some people. I looked at Ashley. $4,500 mortgage on a house you can barely afford? 2 brand new Autos? Designer clothes for 2 7-year-olds. Her face reddened. Your family thought you were poor, Jennifer said, but the reality is, Nicole is likely the wealthiest person in this room by a factor of about 50. So you can afford the $2,000, Ashley said, finding her voice. You can afford a lot more. I can, I agreed. The question is whether I should. They're your parents, who've spent 30 years making me feel like my choices were wrong, my career was meaningless, and my life was incomplete because I didn't follow your path. Robert cleared his throat. If I may, I'd like to share something else. 3 weeks ago, Nicole came to my office with a proposal. She wanted to set up a trust fund for her parents' retirement. Mom's eyes widened. The initial funding was $2 million. Robert continued, structured to provide $8,000 per month in perpetuity, with cost of living adjustments and emergency access to principal if needed. Healthcare costs, home repairs, everything covered. $2 million? Dad's voice cracked. She also wanted to establish 529 college funds for her niece and nephew, Jennifer added. An additional $500,000 split equally. Enough to cover 4 years at any university, including Ivy League schools. Ashley burst into tears. Why didn't you just give us the money? Mom asked. Because I wanted to see if you'd love me first, I said quietly. Before you knew. I wanted to know if you valued me as a person or just as a resource. That's not fair. You demanded $2,000 a month and threatened to cut me off if I didn't sign, I said. You never asked about my life or what I've been through. You just guessed what I could give based on what you thought I was worth. We were desperate, Dad said. No, I replied. You felt entitled. That's different. I stood up. Thanks for coming, Robert and Jennifer. We're done here. Wait. Ashley grabbed my arm. What about the trust fund? Are you still? I looked at her. I don't know. I need to decide if this is a family that deserves my help, or just wants my money. Nicole, please, Mom cried. We're sorry. We didn't know. You didn't even try to know, I said. I've spent 10 years building my company, working long hours, giving up everything, and the first time you need something you demand it like I owe you. I pulled away from Ashley. Here's what's going to happen, I said. I'm going home. You'll think about the kind of relationship you want with me. In 1 month we'll meet again. If you can look me in the eye and say you love me for who I am, not what I have, we'll talk about the trust fund. And if we can't? Brad asked. Then you'll live on $4,200 a month. Like millions of others do. As I turned to leave, Dad's voice stopped me. I'm sorry, he said, crying. You've done something amazing and I didn't see it. Mom added, we're proud of you. We should have said that before asking for anything. Ashley was crying. I'm sorry. I was jealous and bitter. I took it out on you. Jealous? I asked. You built your dream. I'm stuck in a life I can't afford. I feel like I'm drowning every day. Robert and Jennifer left to give us privacy. I looked at them, finally honest, finally real. The trust fund is still available, I said. But there are conditions. Anything, Dad said. Therapy for all of you. Individual and family. You need to understand why money became more important than love. We'll do it, Mom said quickly. And Ashley, you need a financial advisor. Robert can help. You're in deep debt. Let's fix it before you lose everything. She nodded, unable to speak. One more thing, I said. No more secrets. No more pretending. If you want to know me, really know me, ask. And listen. We will, Dad said. The trust will be ready in 6 months. But only if I see real change. Thank you, Mom whispered. Don't thank me yet, I said. This isn't a gift. It's a second chance to rebuild a real family. 6 months later. We met at a quiet coffee shop near my office. Mom and Dad came first. They looked more relaxed. No designer bags. No fancy clothes. How's therapy? I asked. Hard, Mom said. But we're facing things we ignored for years. We lived trying to impress people, Dad said. It wasn't worth it. Then Ashley and Brad walked in. They looked tired but calm. How are the twins? I asked. They're great, Ashley said. They're switching to public school next year to spend more time with us. And money. Brad opened a folder. We sold the Otis. Bought used Hondas. Refinanced the house. Saved $3,400 a month. No more panic, Ashley smiled. Turns out happiness isn't that expensive. We talked for an hour. Real talk. Then I handed them an envelope. Inside were the trust fund documents and college accounts. Mom cried. Thank you. You earned this, I said. This was never about the money, it was about being seen. Dad nodded. We see you now. And we won't lose you again. Ashley said, we don't deserve you. Maybe not, I smiled. But that's what family is. Loving each other anyway. Growing together. Showing up even when it's hard. I looked around at them, finally honest, finally whole. Especially when it's hard.